you very much indeed. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Through the Keyhole, the show that features fascinating household names in their own fascinating households. Tonight, as always, we've borrowed the key, as it were, to two remarkable households owned by well-known people. And with the help of our house detective, Lloyd Grossman, we'll be taking a privileged peep behind closed doors. But the question is, whose? We've got three people to try and answer that question. First of all, half author, half cartoonist, and half wit, Mr. William Rushton. And second, a journalist and advice columnist. And with a job like that, she's got nothing to worry about, as long as the rest of us have something to worry about. Miss Anna Raeburn. And completing the team, pop commentator extraordinaire, who describes himself as alternative as a cheese sandwich, whatever that may mean. Will you welcome Steve Blacknell? Well, now, let me tell you a little bit more about the game. With the help of our old magic key here, we'll be taking a careful look inside two fascinating homes. And that should tell us something about the person who lives there. Maybe quite a lot. All that our friends here have to do is to work out and tell us who it is. So let's join Lloyd Grossman now at house number 1. And watch closely, because remember, the clues are there as we go through the keyhole.
This could be the hall of a house belonging to a young married couple, because there seems to be a relationship between marriage and paint stripping. Look at all this stripped pine. Now, these people obviously enjoy the good life. This is a very large and extremely jolly beer stein. And they like their leisure as well. 2 sets of golf clubs. They're also very sensitive to the history of this house. They've obviously spent lots of money restoring the old fireplace here. Very interesting wallpaper. This must be one of the few places that is a converted Indian restaurant. They don't build them the way they used to. These old houses have wonderfully solid construction. What a marvelous fireplace. They're obviously a very sensuous family. Look at this. There are erotic women on the fireplace and on the wall as well. And there would seem to be some sort of naval connection here, because there are 2 brass propellers and there's a brass ship picture. This is quite an interesting picture. It's an artist's impression of a grapefruit that's been at the bottom of a refrigerator for 3.5 weeks. Someone here must be nearsighted. This is the biggest television set I've ever seen. They certainly have a sense of humor. Look at that saucy garden gnome over there. And they must enjoy TV dinners. Otherwise, why would they have a microwave in the sitting room? This appears to be the most important room in the house. It's certainly the grandest. Look at these very impressive double doors. And there's a frightfully ritzy chandelier. Now, this is the music room. The bookcases are chock-a-block with tapes, with cassettes and books about music. But not just any music, piano music. There's this ultra-smart grand piano and a very, very modern electronic piano. And half a dozen souvenir toy pianos as well. But keyboard mania extends in this family, because this room is also the home office. And get a load of this, electronic keyboards, 2 home computers. But even though these people are frightfully modern and progressive, they have some connection with the late 60s, early 70s. Just look at the illustration on that briefcase. These people must be very concerned about their appearance. They've got an exercycle here in the bedroom just to stay fit, and this marvelous mirror, which is ideal for posing in front of. I think they like dressing up a lot as well because they're building huge wardrobes here. So they're quite public people. They like showing themselves off. And they're certainly making a major contribution to the art of public bathing, very conveniently located in the corner here. The gnomes are frightfully pampered in this neck of the woods. They've got their own car park. I see they haven't got round to putting curtains on the dressing room yet, though. Let's look at the evidence. The saucy ladies, the mini pianos, the hippie briefcase. What sort of person lives in a house like this? David, it's over to you.
Well, thanks very much indeed, Lloyd. And now, for our home and studio audience, though not for our panel, here's whose house it is. Right, now let's see how close the panel can get to psychoanalyzing whose house that is. Starting with you, Willie.
I had a vague feeling for a while it was the secret hideout of Sir Geoffrey Howe. He goes there when he's seeking a bit of action and can sing heavy metal to the plants and the gnomes. Very interesting, the erotic women, not only on the fireplace and the walls, but also on the handbags, and a sure sign of jet lag setters. The microwave in the sitting room. Why? Asked the marvellous person who was doing it. That is a sure sign of a jet setter because it's actually for keeping your suntan going. And it's reflected by the world's largest bidet, which I had in the bedroom. Our bidets are here again, as the old song had it. I think we're looking for somebody musical and nautical, and there was a pram there as well.
Right.
So they breed.
They breed? Anna.
I was fascinated in this house in which there was a very considerable expenditure, but they had the radiator displayed with almost the same amount of pride as the fireplaces. And although everybody thinks those women were erotic, I thought they were classic and Greek and not a bit erotic. I couldn't figure out the microwave, except that I presumed that if they worked in this terribly impressive music room and they took such good care of themselves in the bedroom, there really wasn't an awful lot of time left over for cooking. They obviously do have children. They had photographs of children on one of the mantelpieces, one of the sideboards, and there was evidence, there was the little car and so on. I think it's one of two people, both of whom have made fortunes in the music business, who are very musically inclined, who have small children. I'm glad they enjoy their money, but I don't admire their taste.
All right, we'll come back for your exact choice, having said that, in just a moment. Steve.
I just hope they breathe through the noses like most people. I thought that the wallpaper was absolute, and as Mr. Grossman said, I can't do the draw. Will you just give us a quick Lloyd Grossman draw?
Warbles.
Warbles, sure, warbles.
Yeah, very good, very good.
All lunchtime. The wallpaper's absolutely appalling, just how quite that sets in. Obviously, and the thing is, being in this funny sort of pop business, I did actually identify with the gold or silver disc, and I recognised the record label. I've been racking my brains at what's left of them just to think, who can that be? Obviously, it's a couple. Yes, they got a few quid. They're obviously away a lot. I'm just echoing what my fellow panellists have said.
Willie, can you zero in any closer on this fascinating...
There's only one nautical musical person I can think of, and I can't remember his name, but it's very like Edward de Bono, who is, of course, the man who invented lateral thinking. But he's the lead singer of Drain Drain.
Ah, Simon Le Bon.
Simon Le Bon.
That's who you think it is?
I don't know.
Well, that's a very... Anna.
I thought it was either Richard Branston's house or Andrew Lloyd Webber's.
Richard Branson or Andrew Lloyd Webber. You've got the nautical thing there with Richard Branson and so on, certainly.
I don't get Lloyd Webber.
And how about you, Steve?
Sorry, just Williams going on there. I stop at the Barron Knights here. I'm really stuck, actually. I should know.
The Barron Knights?
Yeah, it isn't the Barron Knights. They couldn't afford that
They don't live
place.
in a commune.
What about the Grumbleweeds?
Could be the Grumbleweeds, yeah.
No, it
definitely.
isn't.
No, it isn't, yeah. No, I'm stuck here, David. Edward de Bono I'll go for, yes. Good one.
So let's now, since they haven't got there, let us turn and invite our proud house owners to come through the keyhole. Yes, it's top rocker Rick Wakeman and top model Nina Carter. Well, you did you recognise your house from the words of our distinguished wise
It's
group?
wonderful,
Didn't it, really?
absolutely wonderful, yes.
Well, we agree with the taste of the wallpaper. We're in the process of stripping it, actually.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
And
We're removing the fireplace, so, I mean, the radiator.
The reason that that the microwave was actually there was we were having the breakfast room decorated, and there was nowhere else to put it.
Oh, was it?
That was a red herring.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was in fact a
absolutely,
red herring. Yeah.
But actually,
But it was
since
accurate for that day.
It was absolutely accurate.
Well,
Yeah.
since it was there, we've left it there because it's come in very handy.
Quite right.
But it's not a secret love nest of Sir Geoffrey Howe.
Not that we know of.
No, the gardener.
Mind
was
you, you're
looking a
not
little
there
bit
now,
like Sir
so I mean,
Geoffrey,
he could have nipped in there this evening.
That's right, yes.
Quite possible.
But, well, the naval connection. What's the naval connection? Lloyd mentioned, and we got all nautical here. Is there a naval connection?
Well, when I met Nina, she had these 2 giant screws left over from a boat somewhere.
Beautifully
and they
put, that was.
actually...
Thank you.
And you took a very liberal attitude about the whole
It
thing.
It goes with the pictures, actually. And when we used to have a little house out in Godalming, the fireplace was falling down. It propped the fireplace up. And when we moved, they came with us. It's one of those sort of strange things.
But you don't sail single-handed across the Atlantic.
No, no.
Not
You
as
should
yet,
you
no.
should be shot for
Well,
that.
I should be. I thought
Now-
directly at the start.
Pardon?
With these people, I'm unbeknown to myself. I worked
We're
with
good
Nina
friends.
10 years ago, just about. And Rick, I've got to know, but I haven't been to your house, have I? Obviously not.
No.
I thought the paint was because you might have got decorated in the Navy or something like that. But actually, no, that threw me because I'd forgotten that. But of course, the keyboards.
Well, we thank you so much because
Thanks.
we would like to present you with our gold souvenir, the gold through the keyhole key to you both. Thank you for...
Thank you
Probably
very
worth
much
more than the
indeed.
house.
I don't think so. Yorkshire are generous, but not that generous. And so we thank you both for sharing with
Thank
us.
you very
It's been
much
such
indeed.
fun
Thank you
seeing
very
much. Very kind.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for being such fun.
Thanks
Thanks
a
a
lot.
lot.
Bless you both. We'll take a break and we'll come rushing back when old Lloyd Grossman will be housebound once again. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back to Through the Keyhole. In our postbag this week, a letter from a lady in Gloucester who says she's been offered a fantastic new machine which is guaranteed to cut her housework in half. And she wants some advice. Well, Lloyd suggests, why not buy 2 of them? And now let's join Lloyd at house number 2. So see if you can spot the clues as we go again through the keyhole.
What a view. No wonder they call this the Garden of England. And if you want to live in a converted oast house, you should do as these people did and move to Kent. This family would appear to be very sociable and gregarious. A round room like this is ideally suited for the sort of things they enjoy doing. It's got lots of comfortable seating ranged around the walls, and center stage is a perfect place for someone to hold forth. So there might be a slight theatrical influence here. And there are lots and lots of books, mostly rather highbrow, with a particular emphasis on political stuff as well. So plenty of reading gets done in this house. Someone here seems to be rather analytical and methodical, hence the chess set, but I fear they're rather out of practice. Look how sloppily the pieces have been arranged. There seems to be a definite interest in exotic parts. All these textiles and cushions on this sofa would seem to come from India or Afghanistan or somewhere in Central Asia. There's a Burmese or Siamese Buddha and a big Chinese chest. So someone here definitely likes Asia, probably travels quite a lot. It seems that music is quite important to this family as well. There's a guitar for singing folk songs around the fire and a big stereo. And the fire is quite important. It's very much a working fireplace, so you can picture them gathered around the hearth on a winter's evening. This is a very grand dining room, and it's ideal for giving formal dinner parties. Look at these chairs. They're the type that make you sit up straight, and there are 2 very serious sideboards here as well. There's a wonderful looking glass at one end of the room, and you can imagine the candles blazing away and conversation around this table being very animated. The Oriental theme continues in this room, though, and there's a lot of cynobelia, aged Chinese philosophers, and a long scroll painting. There's even a Chinese statue of a horse here. So it comes as quite a contrast to find this very jocular bit of English art pottery at the center of the table. Both the dining room and this kitchen area have a very traditional stately home floor of black and white tiles, but the whole feeling here is quite relaxed and informal. I see that someone here is an enthusiastic amateur painter, and probably an enthusiastic musician as well. This piano is very handy. I suppose they play music to cook shepherd's pie by. This kitchen is very countrified with stripped pine and, of course, the indispensable aga. But in fact, this family is rather modern, even vaguely transatlantic, and obviously quite busy because they've got a breakfast bar here for snatching quick meals on the run. This large bedroom has quite a modest mirror, so I think these people aren't very vain. They probably don't care very much at all about their personal appearance. Now, there's an absolutely gigantic bed in here, so the secret vice of whoever lives here is laziness, which is odd because they're actually workaholics. Look at this desk and the filing cabinet, ready for all sorts of action. Slightly chaotic, though. But it must be very hard to concentrate in here when there's such an alluring view of the rolling countryside through the window. Let's look at the evidence. The unruly chessboard, the cynobelia, the piano in the kitchen, and the chaotic desk. What sort of person lives in a house like this? David, it's over to you.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Lloyd. Cynobelia sounds pretty frightening, but we're assured that it's not fatal. Anyway, now for our home and studio audience, here's whose house it is. Well now, Steve, it's your turn first.
I'm not really sure. And music to cook shepherd's pie by. I don't know. It's something my gut feels telling me a comedian. A mega comedian. What? What? Obviously a politician, right?
He's trying to cheat. He's playing the audience. But
see, Mr. Frostlight. So I think it's a politician, not a comedian, and
well, not intentionally.
Not intentionally. The rather hippie-ish background to it. I don't know many hippie politicians though.
Right, a hippie politician feeling you're getting coming through.
I'm getting a very hippie politician feeling coming through. It's exactly right, yeah.
Right.
No, I don't get hippie politician at all. I think that's the collection of Chinese things is very, not only Chinese, because there were Afghani, books on Afghanistan, textiles from the Middle East, somebody who is very much interested in Eastern philosophy and Eastern art and Eastern culture. Nevertheless, somebody who lives in a very kind of conservative way, in the sense that all the amenities are there and they're quite ordinary things, really. And then it puts odd bits of modern technology over the top simply because they work. That's the most convenient place to have the television. It's the easiest place to have the work desk. It's the easiest place to have the piano. It's a very functional home. I haven't not a clue who this is. I'm sorry, not a clue.
Anna, you've already said that.
But I thought the most interesting thing is it's a house full of books. And that I find terribly encouraging. Somebody at least thinks, right. Even if I don't know who it is.
Well, I'm going to give you a second or two to think now, too. Willie?
No, books encourage you, don't they? I think it's probably somebody who writes. And not a whisper.
It worked for me.
Somebody worked for me. Somebody who reads out loud. Very slowly, with their finger. Oh. Right, good. Thank you very much. People who live in host houses shouldn't throw up, I've written down here. No. I find myself in a quandary. I've been listening to everything everybody's said. Afghanistan was sort of leered upon. It was sort of... Then I couldn't think of anybody in Afghanistan that I know personally and well. I quite like the dirty version of chess, which they practice in the Orient, where they all get together in the middle of the board and to hell with the game. Much more fun than when you get two boring Ruskies at it. I'll think of it yet. I'll think of somebody yet, but at the moment, very confusing. What a delightful place, though. What a delightful house.
Right, Steve.
Well, I've got to go over what the audience told me and say it's a politician. I really don't know. I'm from Kent. I just don't know many people who live in host houses. Hop in for a cup of tea. I don't know. I can't think of someone. David Steele.
David Steele.
No, you know he lives up north, doesn't he? Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Well, he might have a-
This is thought to be David Steele's weekday pad.
This is
Would have
it.
to be then.
Pied
Not
à
in
terre.
Ettrick Bridge. What about Anna? Have a go.
It's a political writer of some description, not a pure politician.
Getting warmer.
In that case, it's a documentarist, a filmmaker.
They think it is. And they know too.
They're very, very much in the know.
Right, wait a
There you
minute.
go, even if you don't.
Okay, you bluff for me while I think
All right.
frantically.
Shall I tell you what I think it is?
Yes.
I think it could be Sandy Gore.
Correct. Oh,
A fine Englishman and a man not unknown in those parts.
and seeing you gradually getting there, Willie, it was just like watching Seb Coe win the 1500 metres. It was really
Thank you.
exciting,
Thank you.
gradually getting there. So will you welcome the man himself, through the keyhole, Sandy Gore?
I've never had a hope.
Now, wasn't that fascinating? Slowly but surely, with the help of the audience, they got...
Yes, the audience was a great help. Great help.
Yes, great help. But how long have you lived there?
Only 2 years.
And you lived nearby, didn't you?
Yes, I lived 50 yards away for about 20 years, and I moved 2 years ago.
More
but
space or a better view, sir?
It's a better view. It's much the same, but better, but nicer. And I was, it was offered. I was offered to do a swap, and I had to accept it. And it is nice, although I must say the pictures make it look perhaps nicer than it is. But I mean, they're slightly flattering, but yeah, it's a lovely view.
Dust never shows
I
up
thought
on
you
television.
didn't have a hope at one stage. I thought you wouldn't.
It's a nicer view than the view from ITN, almost.
Slightly.
But now the clue, one of the clues there, of course, was the book on Afghanistan.
Yes.
And then the Sinobilia.
Yes.
Correct definition being love of things Chinese. Or
Yeah, I
something?
suppose so. Yeah.
Something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And
I think Lloyd coined it himself, didn't he? Did he
well,
make...
I think yes, Sinophilia. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it may well be an invention. I think. Yeah. But now, your love affair with Afghanistan, or the amount of time you spent there, and from which the Oast House must be a blessed change. I mean, was that love of things Eastern, or was it just feeling sorry for the people of Afghanistan?
I think just being a reporter all one's life, and having traipsed around the world, and that Buddha, for example, came from Vietnam. The pictures on the wall, the Chinese came from Macau. I mean, I think they're just sort of mandarins, nothing very... So I think not being a real collector, but just, how you pick things up as you travel around the world, and one or two things from Afghanistan. But I think Afghanistan simply comes out of being a reporter, David,
Right.
and wanting to, to see what's happening on the other side of the hill.
And are you the enthusiastic painter, or your wife?
No, it's my daughter.
Your daughter.
Yes, yes.
Terrific painting, that painting. We all
She's
admired it.
at art school now, so I'll tell her she's just an amateur.
Well, Sandy, we can't thank you enough for coming along and joining us, and may we present you with your gold through the keyhole key.
David, how
to
very...
use in whatever way you choose.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
It's
very much
nice.
for that. That was marvellous fun. In fact, our thanks to everybody, to our panel, to Willie Rushton, and to Steve, and to Anna, to all three of our marvellous panel over there. Our thanks, of course, to Lloyd Grossman as well, and above all, to our two proud homeowners who've joined us, Sandy Gall here, and, of course, Rick Waitman and Nina Carter. And to all of you, thank you for joining us. Until the next time. Good night.
Another classic show for you next here on Challenge. And would you risk the gamble? You could end up with just your BFH. Bullseye, next on Challenge. Then, Fastest Finger First gets you into the hot seat. Classic Millionaire is weeknights at 10.